Wow, what a difference a day makes with earnings. Yesterday morning, remember every single earnings that were on our radar, they were missing, they were reducing revenue, no one was increasing revenue. This morning, it's completely different set of companies that are reporting and really good results. Look at this. There's a sea of green here. So I can't go through everything. So I've already went through these to kind of filter what were the best earnings. I know a lot of people are eyes on PayPal, but I don't think that's the best one. It's up 7%. They beat by a few percentage points, 4 or 5% in terms of their guidance. So PayPal, not one I'm going to be looking at. Look, a sea of green, lots of great earnings reports. I'm just going to scroll down to the ones that I thought were the most promising for today. And the two at the top of the list are Starbucks and Qualcomm. Starbucks had the most impressive beat early this morning. Look at this. Unbelievable. They beat by, let's just actually do the math. I forgot. When I did the re-rating, it comes to $105 in terms of the percentage of the beat. It was 106 EPS versus 92. They also crushed revenue. So this is unique. And also Qualcomm, because they didn't crush revenue only on earnings and cost savings. They also did it on sales. So 106 versus 92, that gets you to re-rating value of 105. Now, the guidance is a little tricky. The revenue guidance came in a little light, but they kept the EPS guidance going forward. So re-rating value of 105, what's near there? This candle right here is near there, 104.46. So I guess that's going to be your target on Starbucks. We already gave this alert early morning in the app, if you're a VIP, that Starbucks had one of the best earnings this morning. The other one, Qualcomm, really good earnings. I was really impressed with this one. Qualcomm as well, they're beating on both the top and the bottom line. Let's see if we can do a re-rating on this one. Here we go. All right, you can see revenue came in 8.67 billion versus 8.51. Okay, 202 versus 191. But even more importantly, so they beat by 11 cents. But more importantly, Q4, they're guiding to beat by, you see this, 235 at the midpoint versus 210, 25 cents. So even they beat in their Q4. I'm looking for an even bigger beat in their Q1. If you do the re-rating value on this, 235 minus 210, let's just do that. That's 25 cents divided by 210. That gives you 12%. Okay. A lot of things have already moved. Maybe this one has the most juice left in it at 12%. Let's triangulate that with the chart. We close at 110.89. So we'll take this 110.89, and that gets you to 124. Let's see how that looks like on the chart. Anything near 124? Well, we do have this 200 DMA we're contending with. And above that, you have these gaps in here. What's the top of this gap? 122. 122.74. Okay. I think that's going to be your targets for today, the upside target on Qualcomm, 122. And then this 200 DMA, it could, maybe that could be support. So Qualcomm and Starbucks, not much juice left in Starbucks, though, but maybe you can buy the dips in Starbucks. Okay. Starbucks and Qualcomm, the best earners. SMCI also had a good report, but it was around here. I think it was like a 5 or 6% beat, something like that. I don't see a huge opportunity right now here. I do want to point out, though, Qualcomm, they're saying they're beating and raising because the smartphone market is rebounding, particularly Android phones. Okay. So, positive commentary in terms of demand for chips. And also they talked about AI chips and demand for their AI chips. Qualcomm is a very low PE, like 20. One of the reasons it has a low PE is people expect them to lose Apple as one of their big customers. But why do I mention this? Semiconductors, because we got two of them, SMCI and Qualcomm chips, I should say. Well, that brings to mind Soxel. Soxel may do good, and it's already doing well today. Soxel, man, I guess, you know what? We should probably just quickly review QQ. Everything jumping on earnings. QQQ is above the 20 DMA. You got resistance here about 364. Okay, so 364 target on QQQ. You got to look at all these things in terms of, how much further can a Soxel run today? SPY over the 20 DMA. Wow, can this swing all the way to 432, 433? Possible it could do that. So things are looking pretty good for right now because these earnings reports were just great. I mean, it's just amazing how you could go from, yesterday morning, terrible earnings reports, and today all the earnings reports are pretty damn good. Okay. Shopify crushed it, but their revenue guidance, they're not increasing. So, I mean, there's so many here. There's so many stuff. A lot of these might continue to do well. Dash, really good report, but they're still not profitable. So I'm just avoiding that one. It's tough to kind of do math on what that's worth when they're not profitable yet. Talk with a good report, but nothing crazy. Palantir, I think this is overpriced. So I don't want to focus on Palantir. They beat slightly. Their PE is like 50, 60. I mean, why would you do Palantir when you got like a 20 PE in SMCI, 20 PE in Qualcomm, 30 PE in StarBucks, growing nicely. So I don't know. I don't know about Palantir for today, but there's just so much stuff here. Lantheus had a good report. But when I did the re-rating calculation on this, it comes to about here, $69. So, all right. So there's some other news as well. So I'm going to put Qualcomm and StarBucks in the top 5, probably Qualcomm number 1. Okay. Cause it hasn't gotten near the re-rating value that we just went through. So Qualcomm's the number 1 pick. There's some other news here. TGB. We had this yesterday and it didn't do well on the permit they got, but they reported earnings this morning. And from what I can tell, earnings was a complete crush job. I mean, I think analysts were at 100 million and they came in at 150 million, like something crazy. And then their adjusted EBITDA, 63 million. Like last quarter, it was 20 million. They like tripled their profit quarter over quarter. And then they did talk about this Florence mine that's now fully approved and how they're going to get financing for that by the Q1 2024 and commence the construction of that project. This is really cheap, man. I don't know why it didn't perform well yesterday. Today with earnings, maybe it'll perform better. This is a good one to tuck away in your long term, I think. At these prices, TGB with the earnings out now and the Florence project approved, I think you can tuck that stock away. Some other news here. ReWalk, high risk penny stock, could have a move today because they got Medicare coverage for their ReWalk personal exoskeleton. It's already up 5%. It's been doing well in the last period. So this could have a move today, but man, the other stuff looks a lot more interesting, right? Wow, look at this volatility on this chart. Where's it going to go? Like here at 86? I don't know. We'll have to see how the market receives that Medicare approval. But man, these other ones I think are a lot better. So let's see if we can order these. And there's a couple things else I'm going to talk about while I do this. Okay, so I'm on a different list. So we're going to do Qualcomm first. We'll put it under here. Okay, Starbucks second. I got to put TGB into the top 5 over here. Maybe Soxel actually we'll put that into the top 5. So Qualcomm, Starbucks, TGB, Soxel. Wow, I like those 4 picks right now for today. Jack had great earnings, but I'm not going to play that because I might. Okay, let me say Jack. They crushed it by 27%. The revenue they beat by 10%. Earnings they beat by 27%. They have a new agreement with the company to expand their product line. Half of the market cap is in cash. It seems really cheap, but they do this every single quarter. Every single quarter, they crush it like this, and then the reactions after earnings is like kind of unpredictable. So I'm going to avoid it, but man, it looks so cheap. So, maybe buying the dips or something is possible here. Okay, but look, so we're just going to focus on Now, I just got to cover Drio earnings, okay? I know this looks terrible over here, and people are disappointed. The headline was really bad, but that was because Sanofi revenue, which is lumpy. They didn't have much Sanofi revenue this quarter. That's going to be coming back. Outside that lumpy Sanofi revenue, everything's actually in line. I actually think last quarter was worse because last quarter, that's when they gave us the news, is Aetna was pushed off till Q1. Here, Aetna continues to be in line. In fact, the relationship with Aetna's expanded. They're giving us a very specific date now, January 1st launch at Aetna. So actually nothing changed for the worse here, except the Sanofi revenue, which is lumpy. They didn't get it. They didn't get that lumpy Sanofi revenue this quarter. And the headline looks terrible. The stock is down. Man, if he can stomach this, I think today could be a good buying opportunity. I know it sounds like that's the story with Drio. But going back to the top 5 today, Qualcomm, Starbucks at this point, maybe on a pullback. You have to find your entry, but Qualcomm I like better at this point because the price TGB. I like that. So 1, 2, 3, Soxel, we like that. And maybe a little bit of lotteries and Rewalk or something like that. So let's make it like 4 that I'm most bullish on. Let me see if there's anything up here that I was missing. RGR, by the way, the gun company, they did report and they disappointed, but they didn't talk about forward-looking guidance. Actually, the conference call is ongoing right now. So I'm actually going to hang up so I can listen to the conference call to see if they tell us anything about demand since the Israel war, okay? And we're just going to leave it here. I got to go listen to that conference call, but it's Qualcomm, StarBucks, TGB, Soxel, top 4 for the day. Good luck, guys. Let's kill it.